Hi everybody, I'm Ritzcon.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Seamus. And we are mercilessly and unfairly picking on poor Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, Those
Picking
poor
on
authors,
every little thing.
Those poor developers at BioWare, with all their huge fan base and their large amounts of assets. It's really unfair too, because there's nobody to defend BioWare out there.
And we're just gonna pick on them.
Relentlessly,
in fact, we're looking. Yeah, we're just looking for things to complain about.
Yeah, there's a stairwell further on.
Before I even played the game, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna dump on this game, and I don't care how far or how much of a stretch it's got to be. I'm going to find something to complain about. And I got to the end, and it was perfect. So then I had to make up a bunch of crap about not liking the end.
You know, you could argue that our commentary up to this point has not been bitter, but if we're trying to make the argument that we aren't bitter, this is probably the worst possible way to begin this week of episodes.
I actually don't care one way or the other. That's how bitter I am. I'm ready to burn this particular bridge.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting to see which complaints get pegged as nitpicks and which complaints just sort of get a general pass. Like we got flagged for nitpicking, at least by one viewer. And by the way, there are multiple people who complain about this, so don't assume I'm talking about you just because I mentioned this.
Bailey.
But because of the situation a while ago, where we switched to our pistol away from the weapon we had armed.
Oh no!
And the reason we commented on that was because A, there was nothing else to talk about at that point, and B, you know, it kind of is one long series of removing the player's agency and making the player's choices pointless. And it's a very subtle manifestation of it, but it's also a very pointless one.
And it's an ongoing problem that the game has, like in this scene. Here we go. Welcome, Kai Lang.
Oh, that's who Kai Lang is?
That is Kai Lang.
Don't even think about it.
Look at him wearing that stupid ninja mask.
It's
Okay,
like,
so those are probably
do you think you're
augmented eyes.
Nightwing? What is with that mask that has tiny little eye holes that aren't over your eyes?
Take off that ridiculous cosplay!
Shepard. Shoot him. Shepard, where's my renegade interrupt?
No, it's fun.
You don't get a renegade interrupt.
He's too cool for renegade interrupt. What the fuck?
Oh, hi, Kirihi.
I do
Thank
not
you
know
for
that was
not
possible.
attacking Kai Lang, instead just standing in front of the counselor cloaked until, whatever.
It's like a troll spy.
Random. It's like the spy you accidentally headshot as a sniper that was cloaked and you weren't even aiming for it.
Okay,
He was going to breakfast and stumbled through here.
I have no idea who this guy is, but I fucking hate
pub.
And I don't think Metagel's gonna cover it.
Well, that's the story of Kai Lang. Everybody hates him. He gets all these magical powers in cutscenes, and all of his powers revolve around Shepard forgets to use her powers. That's his most potent power, is making you forget how yours work.
Did you like that great big wind-up he had for his,
Shepard, what's going on up there?
for his Kamehameha beam,
But the counselor's okay.
where you never shot him?
You must be going after the rest of the council.
Yeah.
Get the word out. Udina's trying to
It's okay.
I've got to get to
You can shoot me all you want. The wounds you inflict
so-
can't be any worse than the wounds that your rejection of your society has left on my soul.
So I mentioned this in my write-up on the post of the last episode. But basically, so Udina is trying to take over the Citadel for somewhat nebulous reasons that aren't really explored in the game. Oh, hey. This is a great fight
give me a fucking break. Oh, while he's doing the three-point land, how about you just, like, veer up a little bit and knock his ass off onto a bridge?
Nope, you're gonna shoot through your own car, forget how to use your power, get out of the car.
Also, wow, you're a bad shot. And who's driving this thing? Why does he use a samurai sword?
Leora.
Why are we being floored by an emo douchebag out of nowhere.
Who has eye holes over his eyebrows.
Oh, great. Liara is taking up the mantle of her mother in the whole flying into things when you're not supposed to be flying into things.
Very
Okay, so
frustrating.
now I double hate this guy.
Well, here's the thing. The reason we have Kai Lang is the developers, and this really shows what happened at BioWare right here. This encapsulates everything. They came to the conclusion, you know, we really need like somebody personal for the player to hate, like a rival, someone to match Shepard. And that was the point of this character, kind of like Saren was.
And they can't be Saren because Saren was too sensible in his rivalry.
On my way.
Yeah, and this is this game's version of Saren. You're right. Introduced late, poorly justified. All his powers are cutscenes, are just the powers they get in cutscenes. All the contrivances that happen. He has idiotic combat taunts that are self-refuting. And so he's frustrating, he's not interesting, he has no motivation besides he's just an indoctrinated tool of the elusive man.
Wait,
or not
I'm
indoctrinated.
only kind of paying attention, but do we just land on this random balcony and now we have to fight everybody in the building?
Yep, okay, so here's another total dumbass problem with this. So, okay, Udina wants to take over the council, basically so that he can, not be totally useless, like the rest of the council's been since the beginning of time, and,
right.
And maybe for some other reasons, but whatever. Basically, he wants to save the council, which I thought was not save the council, save the universe by killing the council, which I thought was an interesting turn for his character. It's not handled terribly well, and he hires Cerberus to do it.
Oh,
so the idea is they're going to assassinate.
Go ahead.
They're going to assassinate. I said terribly well. They're going to assassinate the council, and to do it, they're going to land all of the troops because that won't cause anyone to go, huh? How did they get here? Who could have let them here? But there's so many problems with this, the logistics of this. Like, okay, so they're all here. There's like hundreds of Cerberus troops on the Citadel. How'd they get here? Why are they attacking random areas for no reason, like CSEC? And, well, I guess CSEC makes kind of some sense because the councilors are supposed to be taken there, but...
What's your goal? Why aren't you seizing that part? Why are you taking over the shops?
Right, exactly. And for that matter, how did you all get here? Where do you have a fleet in orbit? We didn't see that. Isn't there a fleet guarding the Citadel? Because if there isn't, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with the Council military?
So if there isn't a fleet guarding the Citadel, then that just makes another plot hole of why the hell haven't the Reapers just... I mean, that was already a bad plot hole, is why haven't the Reapers taken over this place, given its importance? So, the Reapers haven't tried to take it over, and Cerberus has... What? That should not be possible.
So whose side is fuckface McCrawling in my skin, master of ninjutsu, working for, huh? Like, whose side is he on?
He's Cerberus.
Awesome!
Guys.
He is...
Guys, you should not be in my way.
Awesome.
Thank you.
He's kind of your replacement when you left the Elusive Man. When you broke up with the Elusive Man at the end of the last game. He went and got it. He went and made himself a Kai Lang doll. Who really, he looks like an anime. He looks like a Final Fantasy villain. He really
what the
does.
hell?
His tone is wrong. His costume is wrong. He just doesn't fit this space opera setting at
He-
all. He's
he
too
really-
young.
What space opera
Okay,
setting?
he's too young. He's got like a Bishonen emo ninja appearance. He uses a katana. He was hired by Cerberus and like resurrected. He's the only guy with the powers enough to defeat Shepard.
No, he wasn't
he
really
like
resurrected.
spouts
He was
badass
just, like-
gravelly one-liners, and he's always cool and cuts. So this is some guy's like Mass Effect self-insert fanfiction Mary
Yeah.
Sue is what's happening,
Yes.
Essentially,
and then
yes.
he's a rival.
Yeah, and he's always like running away. Oh, his combat taunts are always like, "You're too slow, Shepard," and "You're weak," and "I can tell you're afraid of me," you know, or stuff like that while he's running away, or using it cheating like invulnerability. Like you get his in a later battle. We'll have he just turns invulnerable when you get him down to half health. He turns invulnerable and spawns a bunch of mooks for you to mow down.
Space magic.
And he has the game has the nerve to give him a combat taunt at this point. It's a cover-based shooter, and he crouches in the open to recover health. Just so
Okay,
he
so-
goes against the mechanics, the setting, the tone. Never been introduced before.
Oh, here it is.
There is everything. It's interesting because there's everything wrong with his character.
So, to anyone who's marshalling up in the comments to say, well, that's so the player knows to dislike him and he becomes, oh, fuck, I can't even look at that asshole.
I know! I'm so cool.
But, I mean...
Oh my god, I'm holding it as a pistol!
In the shack.
Hang on. This'll be a
You know what? Okay. Okay, at least you were holding the right gun.
Tell me that assassin has
Oh, did
Oh,
you just
this
hit a
part.
Space Mountain, Josh?
this elevator stop.
Hey, remember
No,
this
we're on
elevator
top
from
of
the
the
first game?
Yeah, now we're on top of it.
found our friend.
And his elevator is gonna pass us, and we have to shoot the brakes on the elevator to make it not
Fortunately-
elevate.
He's only slower than us until we reach his elevator, and then we're moving the same speed, which I guess could just be Bailey piloting it, but... Oh yeah. Also, they have dudes that... Oh, here we go. They have random guys also in the elevator with us.
Is there any other kind?
Anyway, to resume my point from earlier, just hating a villain isn't enough, because it's easy to make somebody hate a villain. Like, just have the villain paralyze them and kick them in the balls and take their stuff and strip them naked and leave them in town and kill their girlfriend. You know, it's really
their
straightforward
village.
to piss off the player. But pissing off the
Just
player
take
isn't
away a
what you wanna
victory
do.
in a cutscene, right there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't get mad at the character, you get mad at the writers. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right,
because-
you do get pissed off.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
because
trying
you
to
don't
kill the
need-
council by accident there.
You have to do stuff.
Oh,
you
shit.
can only do things that anger the character, and then by proxy, if the player's really into it, they'll get angry. You can't really do stuff that would directly otherwise make the player mad. Here's a good rule of thumb. If this was a bad, like really poorly written game, for example, just using characters that they didn't give a shit about, and it happens to, like something happens in the game that the villain does. If the player wouldn't care about it, like if everybody's poorly written, it's probably a good thing for your villain to be doing. If the player would get frustrated and angry, it's probably a bad thing for your villain to be
Put
doing.
away the weapon. You don't want this to get ugly.
Trust me. That bastard.
So I had a bit of a problem with this where the counselor just says, Udina did it! And you're just like, okay, Udina did it.
Would I do this if I weren't dead certain?
Oh yeah, renegade.
And you never like, no, there's no question like, huh.
The Solarian counselor can...
Maybe the Solarian counselor was the one who called in the attack, and Cerberus turned
There are
their
Cerberus
back
soldiers
on
in
her.
the elevator shaft behind
I don't know. We have to figure this out. No, it's just like, oh,
You
Udina's
have no
clearly evil.
proof. You have no proof. You never do. Yeah, Udina's really on
Wait.
the road to the road to L getting shotto right now.
Except he's totally right. When was the last time we had proof for anything?
Shepard,
We blow it all up, or it's just wave files in our Omni tool.
just
Why did we shoot him again? Wasn't that what we wanted to do?
You know in your gut that I'm right. Listen to it. Caden, you're always true to what you believe.
Huh, I had the option for
Neither
both of
are you.
those. That's interesting.
Listen to your gut.
Where did
I
did
think
you just
because
crawl
you
into
brought
that
in the
burning
bruiser-
ship? What happened?
Hell with this.
But he should be able to fly!
We're shooting him, right?
Hey, wait a minute. I thought Asari were super biotics. Okay, I can shoot him, but I'm pretty sure Caden... Yeah!
Yeah, the Asari, aren't they supposed to be not useless?
Yeah, what the fuck? The Asari are supposed to be awesome!
Good.
Oh man,
And an
push
old
me.
human, a bureaucrat pushed her down, and she couldn't do anything about it.
Made it as fast as we could.
You're walking again!
Care of things.
Man,
Wait, you're
Bailey,
perfectly
don't-
fine!
Danger. But I don't
Bailey, just
That
don't
bullet
give
to
a
the-
fuck.
Cerberus was right here.
That
Why
bullet
can't
to the guy
Bailey be
done
the
wonderful.
protagonist?
But they beat feet into the keepers when they figured out we were.
Hey, doesn't that gunshot wound hurt?
I'll say plain.
Bailey.
Just saved the lot of you.
See, when I saw them come out the elevator, I actually thought I was wrong. And I thought that would be an interesting twist, but no.
Too bad it took this to get
See, if
you
this
on
was
board.
StarCraft 2,
Not make
if
that
you'd
same
shot him, he
mistake
would have been
again.
wrong, and if you hadn't shot him, he would have been right.
Do you have any idea why Cerberus would do this?
Honestly,
Why would Cerberus do this? Well, at least nobody knows why they would do it. Because it's dumb. So the logistics of this whole attack are wrong. There shouldn't be this many people in the Citadel. It doesn't make any sense for a coup like this anyway. Especially if you're just going to install Udina in. There's going to be a lot fewer
Yeah.
questions if you had a tiny strike team of double agents in the Counselor's Guard, and you're Cerberus, so you can magically have that happen anyway. And you just
off. I
assassinate
hate this
the
guy.
Council
I know.
instead
I know.
of destroying half the Presidium in the process.
Watching Kai Leng talk to the Elusive Man, I just want to fucking nuke the whole everything. Like, if the Reapers win and they both die, you know what? It's worth it.
It won't happen again.
Just watching them out-smug each other.
We'll see.
And then you could have shown up basically during the Kai Leng attack, although hopefully without Kai Leng in it,
We looked over every centimeter of those
and not had to fight
shepherds.
through all the guys at
Cerberus
CSET.
pal is made out of smoking
And you would have just foiled this small thing and had a little running battle in the elevator.
Yes.
That would have made
Yeah.
much more sense than the entire Citadel has been taken over by Cerberus magically.
I know. Udina's plan would only be useful
One
if
exit and one in.
controlling the council
that
chamber
keeper tunnel from the
actually
elevator
made
lobby
you
led
in
into the
charge. Like,
superstructure.
okay,
You're in
they
there, the
stood
place
here
where they
and everybody
came
just
from.
obeyed them. So
can't even get
now
an
I'm
idea
standing here, so I'll just command all the races of the galaxy and they'll listen to me. That's how this works, right? Is there a special hat I need to put on?
I'm not clear on his plan myself.
Back in Morrowind, in the Tribunal expansion, I like to just go into the throne room and sit down, like crouch down on it, you know, with my pet rat playing on the rug, and pretend that I was Queen Berenzia. Little did I know that my stupid screenshot gimmick was the same strategy Cerberus would employ hundreds
Saltai
of
for
years
president.
later.
I wonder how far down the chain of command we'd have to go before Bailey would become the counselor.
I don't know, but I say we hire
Like,
Cerberus
how many
to kill
people would
everyone
we
on
have
that
to
chain.
assassinate?
Can you imagine Udina just calls up the Solarians and the Asari and starts giving them orders, and they're like, shit, he's got the council chambers. I guess we have to.
I have the conch. I will speak.
And it is kind of a stretch. It is kind of a stretch for that to happen. But if he did it right, you could see it at least working somewhat, where the whole council is dead and he's the only counselor left alive. Maybe there's a little bit of suspicion there. But if he did it right, then he shouldn't be the one being suspicious. Maybe he's off somewhere else when the rest of the council gets assassinated or whatever, and he gets Cerberus to send guys after him.
Okay, here's what I would have done.
Shepard heroically killed. and
I
saves
would've-
Udina. And then Udina's in charge of the council. There's no time to elect more counselors. So he's just like, okay, I'm taking over. Let's get this done.
I would have hired Kai Lang
Maybe
to
he
use
wouldn't
his
have
magical...
gotten through without any without resistance, but it would have been at least somewhat of a possibility that he could have managed.
I would have just hired Kai Lang to murder the other counselors with his magical god powers and taken pictures of it, and then I would have gone up to the galaxy and addressed them and been like, I'm afraid the other counselors have been murdered. Who by? This douchebag. Lend me your support, and I will make sure that this man dies screaming on pay-per-view.
Instant ruler of the galaxy.